So friends, we continue to keep track on the news and events on the front lines of Ukraine and Russia. And today the breakthrough by the Ukrainian forces is surprising everyone. In the Zaporizhia direction, the movement of our troops has led to the third line of defense. For now, this territory is in the gray zone, indicating that the Ukrainian forces are conducting offensive operations here and trying to push the occupiers from their positions. The Ukrainian armed forces have already established themselves in the field between Robotyne and Verbove, which means further advancement is just a matter of time. Today, according to officially confirmed information, the work is ongoing to liberate Novoprokopivka and the positions in the fields towards Ocheretuvate. The distance from the farthest front line to Tokmak is currently 14 kilometers. However, there is a possibility that the Ukrainian forces won't spend time and effort on liberating the city directly, but instead they might bypass it by cutting through the Russian group's formation and reaching the Azov coast through the fields. Conditions are being created that would leave the Russian forces without a land corridor. By then, the Crimean bridge will likely be decisively compromised, although it's already significantly hindered today. On the other side, the occupiers continue to shell and mobilize reserves from different directions, and they can see that the main thrust is directed toward the Zaporizhia direction. Also, as a result of the Russian drone strike on Nikopol, there are reports of 4 wounded individuals. Furthermore, in Berdyansk, explosions were heard yesterday evening, but details are not available yet. Most likely, these are additional bases or the occupiers near Berdyansk. Residents are reporting deep and powerful explosions around the city. But before we continue, I urge you to share this video and watch it to the end. It will greatly help the promotion of my channel. Thank you. In the direction of Vuhledar, artillery exchanges continue and the Ukrainian forces are not conducting new assault operations. The occupiers also no longer attempt to regain control over Urozhaine and Staromayorsk, as the Ukrainian forces have solidified their positions and are now stationed beyond the settlements. Currently, efforts are being made to fortify these positions. In the Kherson direction, the occupiers persist in their strikes across the entire front line. However, the initiative is on the side of the Ukrainian forces as our artillery continues to fire and destroy the occupiers' positions. There have been no observed offensive actions and the front line remains unchanged. However, it is reported that the Ukrainian forces have successfully destroyed the Russian mobile coastal over-the-horizon radar station with enhanced sails, known as Predel-E. This technology was showcased in June 2023, and later the Russians secretly deployed it to temporarily occupied areas of Kherson region to monitor the actions of the Ukrainian military at sea and on land. This information was shared by the Southern Ukrainian Defense Forces on August 28 through Telegram. Even the modern electronic warfare complex Layer 2, valued at around $200 million, couldn't protect the Russian equipment from the Ukrainian forces' strike. As evident, operations on the left bank continue. In the Kupetsk direction, the occupiers are continuing to prepare a new strike force for a breakthrough towards Kupiansk, which they captured in their Telegram channels a week ago. There have been no offensive actions here for several days, and currently only shelling is taking place. In the area near Svatove, they have also been unsuccessful in breaking through near Novoyegorivka. We are still awaiting information regarding the settlement of Karamzanivka as the occupiers are shelling it. Therefore, it's likely that the Ukrainian forces have managed to advance into the occupied territory. In the Kreminna and Siversk area, shelling continues along the entire front line. The strikes on Crimea indicate that our reconnaissance and sabotage groups are active and not allowing the occupiers to relax. It's possible that minor attacks are being carried out to prevent the occupiers from withdrawing their units from these directions to the Zaporizhia front. They will know that the Russians have begun mobilizing additional reserves, withdrawing them from less active directions. In the Bakhmut direction, the occupiers were unable to achieve success in the area of Orikhovo-Vasilievka. Currently, only shelling is taking place in the Klishivka area where tactical battles are ongoing. The occupiers, as before, are sending reinforcements and not retreating. In the Andriivka area, the Ukrainian forces have also managed to capture some Russian positions through tactical combat. The situation remains complex for now, and unfortunately, further advancement is not possible due to the significant concentration of Russian forces in this direction. Artillery preparations are being conducted to weaken their groups. In the Avdiivka direction, the occupiers are intensifying their shelling as their attacks have consistently failed. Throughout the summer, there have been significant changes along the front line in this area. They were unable to encircle Avdiivka. The city remains entirely under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces, and the vicinity of Marinka is still controlled by our units. Despite continuous attacks, the occupiers have gone for regrouping since yesterday, so we are waiting to see how events will unfold. Unfortunately, in this direction, the Ukrainian armed forces haven't yet launched a counteroffensive to liberate Donetsk. Therefore, we are eagerly awaiting developments, but President Zelensky stated that all the occupiers' plans are known and their response will be highly unexpected.
Today was a long and meaningful day of discussions and meetings. International events, our communication, the Ukrainian agenda, a brief report. The key thing, of course, is the staff. It concerned what we're doing now and what we need to be prepared for. First of all, the front line. First of all, the Kupiansk direction, the key spots in Donetsk region, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Mariinka, and the southern directions, in particular, Orikhiv. Reports by General Zaluzhny, Syrsky, and Tarnavsky. A report by the chief of the main intelligence directorate on the plans of the occupiers. We will respond to their intentions. We will, and in a way they do not expect. There were several reports from government officials and the military on reinforcing our border regions, and the issues of finances for this has been resolved. There was a separate meeting on our Ukrainian arms production. The Ministry of Strategic Industries, Ukroboronprom, and heads of domestic production facilities. Artillery made in Ukraine, shells made in Ukraine, drones, missiles, armored vehicles. We are maximizing production capacity. Ukraine can do it. Funding is available. Our defense industry will yield better results. We have two tasks for the next meeting of the staff. The first is a report on preparations for the winter, various aspects including security. Second, a program of preparation for the use of new combat aircraft. Politically, everything has already been done. Agreements have been reached. The key thing now is to prepare the infrastructure efficiently and quickly. This is already a military task. And one more thing. There was a report by law enforcers on the inspection of the military medical commissions across the country. We are bringing this issue for consideration by the National Security and Defense Council. We will present the report and decision to the public. I thank everyone who works for Ukraine. Glory to each of our warriors. Glory to Ukraine.
Meanwhile, in Belgorod, windows on the ground floors of schools are being covered with sandbags before the start of the school year. This was reported by Russian propaganda outlet RIA Novosti. The director of one educational institution mentioned that they will additionally reinforce the school windows from the inside with armor film. According to him, they have already brought in 7 trucks loaded with sand. Each truck carried between 8 to 10 tons of sand. However, about 5 more trucks are needed to reinforce all the windows. It's reported that not all educational institutions are granted permission for in-person and mixed-mode learning upon the request of the operational headquarters. Only those located beyond the 20-kilometer border zone are allowed. So the Russians seem to be afraid of something. I wonder what it could be. So, as for the Pope, he has decided to support the Russians.
Voi siete regni della grande Russia, la grande Russia dei santi, dei re, la grande Russia di Pietro Grande, di Caterina II, quell'impero russo grande, colto, di tanta cultura, di tanta umanità. Non rinnegate mai di questa eredità, voi siete gli eredi della grande madre Russia, andate avanti. E grazie per la vostra, per il vostro modo di essere e per il vostro essere russi.
It's unfortunate that the grandiose Russian imperialistic ideas, which essentially contribute to Russia's chronic aggressiveness, consciously or unconsciously resonate with the statements of the Pope, whose mission in our understanding is precisely to open the eyes of Russian youth to the destructive path taken by the current Russian leadership. Meanwhile, near the border between Ukraine and Belarus, several mines detonated as a result of a lightning strike. The monitoring project Belaruski Hayun drew attention to the fact that pro-government channels in Belarus reported that several anti-tank mines TM62 AIM detonated on a railway bridge about 800 meters from the Slavechno station. As evidence, photos were published showing the damaged railway tracks on the bridge right at the border between Belarus and Ukraine. So the explosions occurred around 3:30, and fortunately no one was harmed. And that's all from me. Please give a like, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.